got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Carolina Panthers at Carolina. Right now, PFF likes Carolina to cover by plus 4 points. So should be a close game. That's a really interesting line. I think that just goes to show you how poorly Cincinnati has played. I think it starts with their defensive line up front. I know we watched that game on Monday, and Jaden Daniels looked like a world beater. I think that was more a product of Cincinnati's flaws and deficits and injuries up front, more than, anything else. So if you guys want to talk about this game, Andy Dalton, shout out Andy Dalton.
Shout out Andy Dalton.
We'll let the TCU guy.
Well, I do kind of lean towards the Panthers here. I mean, we saw their their passing output with Andy Dalton. I mean, he was showing the weapons that they have. I mean, we saw Xavier Leggett getting involved, Deontay Johnson. He was spreading the ball around. I mean, they're finally able to amass yards, and we're seeing the Panthers move the ball down the field. And Chuba Hubbard, a shout out for last week. I mean, 114 yards on the ground. They seem to actually be kind of putting this all together, under Dave Canales. They might be, I don't know, kind of sneaky. I don't know about covering 4.5 against the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow is still Joe Burrow, and he still has, there's a connection with Jamar Chase that we saw last week that is coming around. He's finally starting to pepper him with the targets. I lean Bengals here, but I mean, both offenses I think are kind of, even though the Bengals are 0-3, flipping the script, it could be a bit of a high-scoring game. I lean towards the Bengals, but don't expect the Panthers to, just let them walk all over them. Their defense is playing really well this year as well. I kind of like. The spreads are so. If this was at 6, I'd take the Panthers, but I think I lean Bengals. But I would not be surprised if the Panthers make this a really good game.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean 5.5 is a tough spread for anybody. But let me tell you guys about some cruel irony. About 2 months ago, my birthday's coming up. It's next week. My brother Bill, who lives in South Carolina, bought me tickets to this game, and I'm going to be at this game, Bengals Panthers, and we bought the tickets. You want to know why we bought the tickets? Anyone who's listened to the show the first couple of weeks would know that Bryce Young is my favorite college player in history, Roll Tide. Bill and I both bought these tickets literally just to watch Bryce Young play. And I thought this was going to be the year that he puts it together. And here we are with Andy Dalton, of all people. I thought that Andy Dalton was on the verge of retirement when he was gatekeeping the Bears starting quarterback position from Justin Fields in 2021. I thought he was at towards the end of his career then. But here we are now in 2024, starting quarterback. And I hate to say it, but I think that the Panthers might just win this game based on the fact that they have one of the best pass blocking offensive lines as it stands right now. They held up against a legit Las Vegas Raiders defensive line last week. Max Crosby was contained. This could be a spot where this putrid Bengals defensive line, and Christian, I know you mentioned it earlier, but when you watch that Bengals defensive line go up against, I don't think that the Commanders' offensive line is anything better than average. I'll be honest. They were getting zero push.
Shout out Sam Cosmi, though.
Okay, well, shout out Sam Cosmi. They were getting zero pressure. Maybe they made Sam Cosmi look like, name any great offensive lineman of all time.
Larry Allen.
Yeah, you could say Larry Allen. You could say Jonathan Ogden. You could say any of them. But, man, this guy – this defensive line, other than Trey Hendrickson, I'll give Trey Hendrickson his props because that dude will always come to play. But, Max Crosby will always come to play too. And that Las Vegas Raiders offense or defensive line was shut down. The Bengals defensive line looks like it might be one of the worst in the NFL, certainly pass rushing. So, if Andy Dalton has time, he's shown you that he could pick apart a defense. Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette aren't any joke. I mean, Adam Thielen goes down, but we'll see how much of a critical piece to that offense he was. But as you mentioned, Chuba Hubbard got the running game going. And that offensive line, I think, is the star of the show for Carolina. So it is absolutely insane to me that I'm saying this, but I think that the Carolina Panthers are going to win this one outright at home, right in front of my eyes when I wanted to watch my favorite player ever, my favorite college player ever, Bryce Young. I'm not going to get to see it. And who knows, maybe he'll be back in the saddle next week, but I'm not going to get to see Bryce Young play. So
But
I
you
don't
know
know,
what
maybe I'm the only one that's upset about that.
you know what you are going to get to see, Pat? You're going to get to see the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers
Yeah.
going up against Joe Burrow. I think they got too much fire. I think the connection with Jamar Chase is coming into fold. Zach Moss has looked really good. I like the Bengals at 4.5. I like this over just, to give Andy Dalton his flowers, a TCU guy. I think he has looked really good in the past game. We saw Chuba Hubbard, as we said, come alive. I think the Bengals or the Panthers will put up points in this game, make it, kind of fun. Not 4.5 fun, but I like the over, and I lean Bengals on this one.
All right. I mean, just
I mean,
kind of to cap
we
that
also
off.
gotta,
Go ahead.
yeah, just quickly acknowledge. I think that the Panthers might win this game, and the Bengals going 0-4 with Joe Burrow healthy and Jamar Chase playing. I mean, are we talking, November as an expiration date for Zach Taylor's head coaching job in Cincinnati? Christian, I know you're going to say that that's not the way Cincinnati does business, but heads are going to roll at the end of this season if this doesn't get turned around for Cincinnati. And if Andy Dalton beats them in 2024 with a legit, an all things considered pretty healthy team, they don't have T. Higgins, but that will be a tough loss to overcome for the Zach Taylor regime. I'll just say that.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to Zach, we'll just talk about some injuries. I mean, their guys have been out. Sheldon Rankins, they paid a big money to. He's out. He's questionable for this week, but he was out last week. BJ Hill has been questionable with a hamstring. He was out last week. So hopefully they get healthy up front on defense. They lost Trent Brown. It looks like they lost him for the year. So that sucks. I guess that's why you draft Amarius Mims, hoping he steps up in wake of that injury. But yeah, I think we've talked about it all year. This is Cincinnati's doing. This is their own doing, in my opinion. And I think they made their own bed this year because they didn't want to be proactive. They didn't want to work to get these guys in the locker room motivated to play. And I think that you're seeing the effects of it as a result.
But let's shout out one person on that Cincinnati offense, and that's Zach Moss, who came over from the Colts and has, it split some time with Chase Brown. I like him too. I mean, he scored 2 touchdowns to this point. I kind of like him for an anytime touchdown scorer in this game. I mean, he's got 44, 34, and then 58 yards. He's the progression is happening. And I mean, with the questions that are surrounding Joe Burrow was is he still that good? Is he still that guy? I mean, that wrist injury could be lingering. They've leaned on Zach Moss. I like him to have a big game in this as well if they're gonna, be moving the ball up and down the field.